our exclusive guest from the Eastern Horn of Africa, Dr. Tony JAJA, the Peace Ambassador for Eastern Horn of Africa, is sitting right here with us in the studio live from Khartoum. It is a pleasure for us to have him to commemorate this spacious, solemn week that we are all mourning the passing away of a great leader, a Pan-African, a father, a statesman. And on this week of the Magulification, Dr. Tony JAJA signaled his presence to be here because as a founding member also on the Pan-African Daily TV and the biggest voice for peace on the continent, particularly on the Eastern and Horn of Africa, where he's currently being active and overall Africa and the world. Dr. Tony JAJA is here with us again to share his condolences to the people of Tanzania, to the government of Tanzania, and to Africans as a whole. He doesn't only come to celebrate this passing away of a great leader, but he brings us a lot of information on what we should know about the peace processes taken out there. And the question remains, we are all passing away. What is left for Africa to use as the biggest possibility and the opportunity in time to make peace with itself, to drop down the guns, to silence the guns on the continent so that we can all live to build the Africa that we want. Before we bring in His Excellency Dr. Tony JAJA on the show, let us just start with our jingle of celebrating the Magulification song. Yeah, that was the notification sound. That was the Magulification sound of the decade. The new spirit celebrating the kind of a vibrant president that he was. He was not just a president that has to break us down to cry, but a president that we can all dance. We could see him dancing in the crowd. We saw him playing drums. We saw him in the crowd, collecting funds for his projects. We saw him on the flights, on the airplanes, and all the achievements that he achieved. He was a vibrant leader. Even when they went to cut off, the ribbon, you could see how he was swagging his way through the crowd. So proud of what he has achieved for his people, proud about himself, proud about his values, and proud about the same vision for Africa that he all stood for. So while we mourn and commemorate this day, we're going to get into a lot of festivity to put on the Magulification spirit, the attitude, the armor of pride, of achievement, of success, of humility, of course, of humility, but the trust and the class at which he managed all this event. When we watch all these videos, it brings us that kind of a hope for Africa. And so please welcome with me here His Excellency Dr. Tony JAJA, the Peace Ambassador for Eastern Horn of Africa, who is live with us here. And all of you that are watching from our different platforms, I want to salute you from wherever you are. watching. I want to thank you for joining us here, and I wish your lives also a peaceful passage wherever you are, whatever situations we're dealing with, be it at our job site or be it in our homes or be it in our community. Always sending you is peace, as the peace ambassador is here with us. Good afternoon, live from Katon, Dr. Tony JAJA. How are you doing out there, sir?
Good afternoon, Dr. Tata. Good afternoon, and good afternoon, all the audience all over the world. And good morning to others. Good morning and good evening to other part of the world too.
Yes, when you come in the name of peace. We all know you as the ambassador, the champion for peace. What is the message that you actually have for your people worldwide, for your continent, for the people of Tanzania in these solemn times where all of us are just down, we are broken, we are shattered, and people find it difficult to actually accept this sudden pass away of Dr. President John Pombe Magufuli. So what is it that you bring as peace, as watering the minds of all of us, of all his followers and his viewers?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Tata, for bringing me back again for some time. And it has been a while since we were live together in Pan Africa Daily TV. It's really shocking news for all of us. I know those who have been following Dr. John Magufuli, the late president of the Tanzania. And last year, I think we talk about three of them.
Yes.
We talk about Paul Kagame, what he's doing, and we talk about Dr. Addo of Ghana,
Yes.
and we talk about the late Magufuli. These are the champions that are focaling the voice of change for Africa, and they have taken the mantras, bringing back the vision of Pan-Africanism again. And this we have talked about them. These are the people we gave the right example. These are the people that we are so proud of them in the continent of Africa for their stand during the COVID-19, the appearance of COVID-19, and what was been saying for Africa and all this. And they stood their grounds for that one. And as we have seen in East Africa is mourning, and the continent is mourning, and the whole African community worldwide are mourning him because he has done a tremendous things in the country, changing a lot of things in the country, building the country, developing country from their own self-reliance, because he has stopped all foreign aid. He has stopped all the loans from the World Bank, from the IMF and all. And that was the kind of people that we were looking for to use the resources to build the continent or to build the nation. And we have seen a lot of things that he has done, even closing down some big companies that were mining, the European companies that are mining in Tanzania, and using that resource to build bridges, to build hospitals and airline, railways, and everything we have been seeing. And even you have not accomplished the hydropower of Nyerere. Now I think it's just remain a few, about 30% of the complete project. But 5 years, he has shown a lot. If our leaders who have been elected showing the resources going to the project, people will love you. He was not a president for himself. He was a president for people. He was a servant of the nation. He was serving them with all his heart. He was so humble with the humility he has shown to the people of Tanzania. And that is why you see how they turned out when he died, and when they were passing by from the hospital, taking him to the mortuary, and then even during the funeral time, and you see 6 hours, people are viewing the body. This is not a simple thing. When he's like a father to the nation, he's reminding us with those of Nyerere, because Nyerere has done a lot in East Africa, and we have seen his work in East Africa. how he stood for East Africa, how he stood for the right of Pan-Africanism. But always when we see kind of leaders like that, the fear always come. And I have said it before. And I say, because the people who want to run the whole world, who are monitoring Africa, they don't want the African to rise up, the African leaders to do their best to their nation, to stand for their nation, to develop their nation. And that is why I was been listening to His Excellency Lazaro, the president of Malawi, when he was giving his speech during the funeral, because about 12 head of his state came out of 54. 12 of them, the head of his state came to attend the funeral. These are the people, we call them, have the spirit of Pan-African. Those who want to bring change to their nations. Because most of the other leaders, they don't have a vision for their people. You see, Magufuli started his career as a politician, as a member of the parliament in 1995. And he has become a member of the parliament and become a minister, and he become a minister of he has passed through different part of the ministerial. And that is why they call him bulldozer. They didn't call him bulldozer now because he became a president. They call him a bulldozer when he was a minister, you see, doing roads, making roads in the nation. That is what we have to see. Resources we have. African has resources. Congo has resources, but you have seen how the foreign are dominating. Like when you saw the ambassador of Italy going to the jungle because he's going to make some deals of those diamonds and gold, and they kill him by the rebel. These are the things that is happening. This is the evidence. When you are the ambassador, what should take you there to say that we were going for the humanitarian? So we have seen Magufuli has done everything for his nation, cutting down all the foreign trips from all the politicians, and the money was used to build a nation. Even the celebration of independence, the money, billions of dollars they used for celebration, he cut them down and used it for the development of the country. But the opposition always, who used to run to the West, because when you start running to the West, you are still calling the people to be your masters always. You want to bring them back in another way. And this is our problem. If you are opposition, why do you run to the West? Why do you run to the United States of America? Why don't you run to your colleagues and accuse within the African? We will accept something like that. But people are working very hard. The same thing happened with Nkurunziza when he chased away the World Health Organization in 72 hours. What happened to him? He died. And I said it before, that African leaders has to be careful about that life, what they eat, what they drink, wherever they go from, and who's close to them. They have to have a lot of security, especially for those who have remained. This is what I have to tell them. And they have to take it very seriously. Anyone who wants to rise, building Africa, and this is what we have been crying for, telling our people that let us unite to build. COVID-19 was brought to us to depopulate us. This is what we should say. We don't hide things. We have to tell the truth to the people. And the truth will set you free. When you don't say the truth will not set you free. Magufuli said what? He said if they were able to bring vaccine, okay, to create vaccine, why they have not created vaccine for the HIV? If they are able to create vaccine for COVID-19. And this is what now, it's now being echo everywhere. People now are threatening everywhere because of this vaccine. Now this vaccine is going to be another thing. Even for you to travel abroad, you have to prove that you have been vaccinated. These are the things that are facing us in Africa today. Before the vaccine thing, We have seen how Africa has been crying for help, financial help. But Magufuli stood by himself with his people, and he has built the nation. That is why after his passing by, the lady took his position now. Dr. Samia now, she is the first female in East Africa to be a president. That is saying the institution is so solid and so strong. This is the democracy we want to see. Nobody will tell us from outside. We have to maintain our democracy from within.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tony JAJA. If you look at the situation, like you're saying, and particularly the issues of the conflicts on the continent, and do you think that this is a time when the leadership of the continent would actually sit and reflect, and like this time, particularly with the pandemic and a lot going on in the world, what is the opportunity for Africa to actually seize this opportunity and make peace with itself, solve the conflicts that they have, particularly when you were talking about the security on the continent?
I have said it before, Dr. Tata, and I have to repeat it again this time. It was last year, but I have to repeat it this time. There is no any other better days and better years and better months or better time for Africa to deal with their own issues. It is this time. 2020 was the years of silent guns. But we have seen now different places around the continent, people are fighting. There is a creation of war happening now. We have seen even in Sudan, between Sudan and Ethiopia in the border of Fashaga, this eastern part of Sudan. We have seen the Tigray people fighting. The same Abiy Ahmed, the same prime minister, said we want to silent gun. That was in last summit 2020 in February the 8th, addressing the audience, addressing the head of the state. And when you arrive to the Addis Ababa airport, there is a big signpost written 2020, the years of silent guns in Africa. It's like now they have told them that, no, this year is not year of silent gun. This is a year of war. It's like push war again, not to silent guns. And that is why we are telling them that whatever is happening between nations, it should be dialogue. People has to dialogue, because war cannot build nations. War always destroy nations. There is nations who have signed peace like Sudan, South Sudan themselves, but there is other warlords are still outside who did not join the agreement because they have seen there is some loopholes inside. Even the same thing in Sudan. There is some loopholes. There's some other group who refused to sign the agreement. The same thing. This nation is now at war in the border, and we are telling them, go for dialogue. Let everything be discussed, dialogue. Let professionals sit down and bring dialogue, because if we start involving the outsiders and we are not solving our issues as African Union or IGAD or SADC or ECOWAS, this is where we will have some problems. Then bringing people from outside to help you. But this is the internal issue should be solved within the continent. African Union as an institution should be empowered. Now Musa Faki now has been re-elected again as a chairman of the African Union again. So this is the time we should work very hard. The new chairman, the new president of the African Union for this year to 2021 to 2022 is the President Felix of Congo. And Congo has a lot of things happening now. There is refugees going out because in the eastern part there's war. There is 7 groups of rebellions in those areas. And this time people has to see it as the African Union, because always when we want to bring people together, we have to go for financial support. But African has to support their own issues so that to solve the problem. This is the time for unity. This is the time for African to to be mature, to solve their own issues, not to run. I have seen what happened in Mali, and you have seen a lot of things that are happening even in in Cameroon, and even in Central Africa. A lot is happening. But this is the time. This is the time. Election has been delayed in Somalia, and this is not good for time. And that's why we are urging Somalian leaders to have election on time. The same thing. I met the former president of Somalia, Sheikh. I met him here, and we talk a lot. We told him, no, you go for peace. Any election has to be peace, not to create war again. Because we should encourage people for war. We should encourage people for dialogue. It's about win-win. If you did not win, you give to the person who have win. This is how we can build a democracy in the country, and we have to set an example for the continent of Africa.
It is high time, but I don't see Africa actually having a choice but to actually make this peace with itself. And I'm very happy, and I think all our viewers that are viewing us from all the platforms, they are also putting the thumb up to say this is the time for peace, particularly when we are going or we are passing away like the former president. It is even more time where we have to, come together and create that kind of dialogue that unifies us. And I'm very happy. Now, do you have, I know you've been monitoring these dialogues, and you're even part of these processes, try to put this in the background. What hopes do you see?
Is what we see is a willingness of people, because for this time now we have seen Africa has been left alone during the pandemic time to deal with its own issues. This is what we have seen. If we are being left to deal with the disease that is killing everybody all over the world, we can solve our problem, because war in Africa is a disease that created by people, that create a poverty. And as the president of Malawi said, His Excellency Lazarus, he said this financial program for Africa made Africa to be poor for today, because they put you on debts, they put you on this chain of finance, and this is how Africa is still poor until today. It's because of this financial program that has been designed by the Paris Club and the others. So what I'm seeing, Africa is capable to solve their problem. I have seen how many leaders in Africa flown into Sudan to talk to the authorities here concerning the border of Sudan and Ethiopia, concerning the dams of Ethiopia, Egypt, and Sudan, and concerning the refugees that are flowing from Tigray side. I have seen those of Obasanjo coming here. The United Nations sent his ambassador, who's in charge of Horn of Africa, to come and to speak, to encourage the nation, to encourage the leaders for peace. I have seen Musa Faki, the chairman of African Union, sending his envoy to come and speak and encourage Sudanese to go for peace. And this is what we have to see before we see others. Now, President Biden has sent Senator Chris Cohn to Eastern Horn of Africa so that he can discuss the issues of Tigray in Ethiopia. So these are the things that we have, because the issue of Tigray, the Eritrean is involved, the Ethiopia is involved, and the refugees are flowing to the country of Sudan. And these are really a chaos. But Africa is capable to lead the peace talk and bring solution and stability in the country. I still urge them, the leaders of 54 states, the head of a state, let us help our brothers who are facing problems today. Let us help them to solve this problem. Let us intervene as a one unit or the union of the African leaders to solve our problem. Let us talk and speak the logos and the mottos we are using of silent guns in Africa. This is the time and this is the moment. Yes.
I mean, I am actually warm hearing this, because otherwise Africans would never be informed about the current situation. We see the pictures, we get the narratives from all the mainstream media, but this kind of insider information is what actually Africans are dying every day and surging and hoping. And now you're bringing us this good news. I mean, silencing the guns is one point, but like even talking about the process for, I mean, for better communication for Africans, for young people to get that hope that our leaders are doing something, is what the African child or the African person worldwide had been hungry for. And so we are so grateful that you're bringing us this kind of reliable insider information for us to even just know that these leaders that everybody keeps saying, oh, they're just quiet, they're silent, they are ignorant, and they are just like not working in the interests of the continent. But you're giving us a different perception and a different a picture, which actually lifts up our heart to know that if all the presidents or main leaders are flowing in because of a conflict, of course we don't see them, we see them at tea parties and stuff like that. So this is one of the biggest, greatest news that we're having here from on this Magulification week, to say something is at least moving ahead.
Yes, Susan, exactly. This is what is happening, because before they don't used to flow and to travel around and to go and encourage one another. Let us go for dialogue. Let us help the situation. Because the person who refused before, there was a three former president. That's when the war broke out between the authority in Addis Ababa and the Tigray region, and the African Union appointed three former presidents, so to send them as the envoy, and Abiy Ahmed refused for that. But now he has accepted. He has accepted because there is no any other option. Addis Ababa used to be a platform where everybody bring their problems to be solved. So how come you accept to solve problem of people, and when you have a problem, you don't want to listen to the others? Because nobody is an angel as a president. Nobody, no institution that can be said this institution is capable, is set up as a superpower over the others, because people are working equal, whether it is because Ethiopia is a headquarter of the diplomatic mission of African Union. And this is where all the agenda has been discussed. This is where all the resolution of the African platform has been discussed. This is where any new vision, new agenda to be passed for Africa, this is where the platform is. So cannot be left behind. It should be encouraged to bring. Now, today, he said, we with Sudanese, we are brothers, and we are going to solve our issues of borders in dialogue way, not in war way. And this is the good news. This is what Abiy Ahmed has said. And this is the same thing, because nobody can give his land just to be taken like that. That is why you have an army to protect the border, to protect the land, to protect the territory. That is why you have the security to protect the land, to protect the territory. And this is what people have to do as leaders, wherever they are, whether in Biafra side, in South Cameroon, or in Central Africa, or in Chad, and other places, because now those places now are, there is like a volcano coming up for war. But we are saying no, the dialogue is the only to quench that fire down and bring peace to the nation.
If we look at even these borders, Dr. Tony JAJA, I mean, I'm so happy with this kind of news. At least you give us, you give the African people, you give the young people the hope the need to dream again, even the need to stay on their continent. You were just talking about the influx of the refugees from Sudan into Sudan. And even though they are coming home, they still feel at home than even dying in the Mediterranean, isn't it? So that's is also one of the challenges why they have to get a peaceful dialogue to keep their people on the continent. It doesn't matter whether they're living from Malawi to Tanzania or to Kenya, at least they are on the continent. And one other narrative that you're creating here that is very important is like in the West knows as if because the migrants are coming from the different part of Africa, it's as if Africa is irresponsible to take care of its own migrant in terms of crisis like this. But this is not what you're telling us, isn't it?
Yes. But we have a country, we have the continent where there is nothing that can take us outside. The reason why you have seen the migrant is because of war, it's because of the poverty. Most of the war that's costing the whole budget of the country. And when you talk to the leaders of those nations, they said, we have been using this money for war. Now, when you stop war, the money goes for the development. The money goes for job creation. The money goes and you open when there is stability, you will open the foreign investment. And this is where you will have to create job to your people. And it's supposed to happen like that. What curriculum do you want to get from America or from Australia or from the UK or from other part of the Europe? Why don't you create it here? See and copy it and use the curriculum. If that is the education, come and do it in the nation here. This is what we're supposed to see. The best education, yes, as we have been saying it with Professor Pierre Lumumba, we have doctors without hospitals who cannot treat you. The engineers of, we cannot build even roads. And this is what we have been seeing. And we have seen the example from the late Dr. His Excellency Magufuli, how he built the nation out of his people. This is what we have to encourage. This is what Paul Kagame is doing it now. This is what the president in Ghana is doing it. And the time has come we start trading one another to do the trade, the intercontinental trade between among us as the continent of Africa. This is where now we will see the products that is needed in this side and how to be exchanged in the other side. And this is why we can build the country, we can build the nation, we can build the continent. And that can bring us to unite, to feel. Now, young people now are rising in South Africa. Youth are going around demonstrating to cancel all the borders in Africa. So we can see ourselves as an African people, not as nations or the small villages that we have created.
Wow. Today is one of the biggest news that we're having, particularly something that really gives us the hope and the positivity and to make young Africans again dream of a continent that they can feel free, they can stay home. Despite the challenges on this continent, at least something is going on the ground, and that is what we're listening and that's what we're watching from an insider, from an African by an African for Africans. That is actually the reason why the Pan-African Daily TV is welcoming all of you watching from the different platforms. Please, this is the time for us to come more together. The bigger the challenges, the bigger the need, the anxiety, the spirit of unity to unify ourselves, to solidify ourselves. Because we know divided we are broken, divided we are separated, divided the enemy conquers, divided we all fall, and nobody wins. Now, Excellency, you said something that is very important. Now you see the reason why no African country could stand up to say we are winning because we were all broken. Isn't it a clear sign that the only way for all of us to be progressive is to become one and united?
Yeah, that's the only solution. To have a mindset of oneness. This is what we will have to see. And we have been saying it. And some leaders now have been, they have this pick it up. And during the late Dr. Magufuli time, at the funeral, the 12th head of a state, they spoke something that people have to carry. The legacy. Now they are going back with that challenge of what Magufuli has done to his nation.
And if you
If
look at this model of unity, I'm very sorry for interrupting. If we look at this model of unity, Tanzania as a whole, apart from even the president, the people themselves, and that's why it is very critical when we think that the solutions could even come from somewhere. Tanzanians have enjoyed some sort of unity amongst themselves, irrespective of their internal challenges and domestic policies that they go through, or could have a different opinion and mindset. But if you look at the whole continent, and if you look at the active conflicts, I think East Africa and Horn as well has enjoyed some kind of benefit. We're not talking about the Central Africa or the French colonial Africans. I mean, the 17 active conflicts that are currently going on. You could already see that these are all conflicts that are also coming from either the Central or West African countries, but majority of the East African country, particularly Rwanda, Malawi, Tanzania itself, Botswana, and all this, they have been really a kind of a solidarity, kind of a peace within themselves. Now, how can this translate to the other conflict zone to send a clear message that we are one? We should be borderless. We should trade as brothers and sisters and exist like the Western systems have already succumb and past that challenge of fighting each other. Now they network, they negotiate, they create solutions irrespective of their challenges.
I think each leader is the tools to unite his people.
Yes.
If there is a unity of the leader, people will back you. People will stand with you. And this kind of leadership, this is what we need in this time. Like what President Magufuli did in these 5 years of presidency, had to unite the Tanzanian people from the born child to the elders. I have seen how people are saluting him, even young people saluting him in his coffin.
Mm-hmm.
A military man crying. This thing is so hard. He has really entered into their body because he was not dying in a war. He was dying building the nation.
Mm-hmm.
And people have more expectation for Tanzania to be more developed to challenge whatever people bring to us and say you are African, you cannot build yourself. Like these Western people, these white people who are sitting somewhere in Europe and saying African are useful, are not useful. They are useless. They are not adding anything into the world economy. And you are taking resources from us. What world economy do you want us to be part of it while you are taking the resources from Africa? Whether it's gold, the diamonds, and the copper, whatever, a cocoa or the oil, it is all going from Africa. But now Africa is waking up to unite themselves and to say enough is enough. Yes, we know there are some other leaders who are still fearing if they speak out, their life will go. But they cannot change, they cannot finish us all. It is like a torch. This one will go, the other one will carry it. Magufuli is a lesson to the whole continent of Africa from today. Is a lesson to all head of the state. Those who want to build and fill their stomach and build their stomach and don't want to make people happy and have a good life for them. This is not going to happen. In 5 years is a big challenge for those who are still sitting for 20 and 30 years and 40 years and not developing their nation. But this is the time to show the unity among your people. Even opposition, those who are in the other side, they can love you because they created it. It is with all the people of the nation.
Mm-hmm.
Will not go for one person. But as a leader, you have to create that platform of unity, not to speak the hate speech, or not to threaten people or torturing them. It is you who should create that platform of unity. Magufuli has done it, and people now stood. Even when he died, people still loving him, and they will speak about him generation to generation to come. This is what I want to say to the leaders. Bring unity among your people. Don't threaten people. Human being cannot be threatened by forcing them away from the nation, or threatening them by, I will kill you or destroy you. This is not the way that you can build a nation. Nation is built by the example. And the example is what Magufuli has done and what Paul Kagame is doing in Rwanda today.
I mean, you said something that is very pertinent, and that for the first time, we are seeing a head of state that has been laid in state, and for public viewing, every person, be it a street person. Normally, when we see this kind of funerals, you would find the elite or a kind of a ceremonial occasion, a particular people being granted audience. And so we all see that the legacy that he left, like he's called the president for the poor, and that the 90% of the poor that he represented is that exactly the 90% that is giving back, and the insignificant 2% or 10% or 15%, be it globally, is actually that kind of irrelevant public that we're not hearing much about them now. Now, what is this as a lesson for leadership, and even us as people growing up as Africans to know? Where is our focus, and what is it that you expect in return, the 90% or the 10%?
We should expect that 90%, not only 10%, 90%. If it is 99%, this is what we have to expect from the leaders, that they have to do it for their people. But sometimes you elect them and they become a leader of themselves and not the leader of the people who elect them. And I call them, whenever they go for election, they beg the people, I will do this for you, I will bring change for you. No school, no hospital, no roads. But people have to see something that you have promised in your speech during the election. And this is how you can give the example. Magufuli now has done is 99% of whatever he has promised to do in these 5 years. There's a big credit. This is a big credit. And I hope Dr. Sami has to carry on the same spirit, fighting the corruption. This is the big giant. This is the big dinosaur that is killing Africa, this corruption issue.
Yes, I mean, that's also one question that, like, Tanzanians and even Africans at large are saying, yes, now the game is not only changing in terms of leadership, but even in terms of gender. Gender is being considered as that point where we think, why not give the chance to mothers, to female presidents, and also exploit what kind of competence. And that's also one of the things that this leadership of Excellency Dr. Magufuli, people looking like, right, given a right of passation of a vice president, there's some kind of harmony and some kind of transparency, and the girl child even could dream again to know that I can be a president of my own people, isn't it?
Yes, that is what we call democracy, because it's based on the constitution of the country. It's based on the constitution. It's not based on the religious things like others. They can see, yes, she's a Muslim and this one was a committed Christian. No, it's a constitution of the country. You are leading everyone with all their background, whether they are Christian, they are Muslim, they are Buddhists and whatever. But you are leading the country based on the constitution. The party has a program. And that is why through that program, they have to pass on these things. This is very transparency without any problems that people have created during this transition that they have done peacefully because of the constitution of the country. We have seen other countries, if that things happen, there will be more chaos in the road, the street, and all these things. People start fighting one another, destroying nation, banning trade centers and all and all. But we have not seen this. They are mourning a leader who have died. And it was shocking to them. And embracing the new leadership in a form of a female. And they said, we are going to support you. All of them, they said, we are supporting you. And she got a congratulation from different part of the world and different part of Africa too.
Yes.
And this is what we should do in other nations too. A peaceful transition based on the constitution of the country.
I mean, Excellency Tony JAJA, you're saying something that, you know, Africans, you watching, you could be able to see. It's not just pick and read. It's not just even stories that they're telling us. We are experiencing it in our own lifetime now. And I think it's a privilege to even just, you know, be a part of an African president that passed away. It was not even up to 48 hours. They had sworn in the next president. I mean, this kind of rapidity in transition is a government that shows that they already knew what they were for, what they worked for, and already understand the ethics of death, that anything can happen anytime, but the country would not stop from operating, isn't it?
Yes, even the Western world was so shocked about this process that has happened. Many of them, they were so shocked. So nobody now will tell us about the democracy. Nobody will tell us now about this kind. We will take it from there and carry it on.
Absolutely. This is beautiful. Dr. Tony JAJA, we want to thank you so very much, I mean, for spontaneously coming on the show today to educate us, particularly about reforms on the peace processes that is going on, the dialogue and the security measures that are being taken to put out a unified South Sudan in this conflict on the east and the Horn of Africa. I mean, it is so uplifting, particularly in the terms of crisis like this, that we're going through this position and this mourning, you know, but to bring this kind of news really warms our heart, and we actually appreciate your time, your concern, putting out it the way it should be, putting it out there the way Africans should understand that. And that's one of the values that His Excellency Magufuli stood for, that we can do it. Now, another thing that we want the audience to understand is this intervention and also this timely interaction. Like you said, the United Nations sent their envoy to congratulate these leaders for sitting down and creating that solution. You also talked about, you know, the African Union chair stepping up and sending congratulations. You talk about the United States government interfering, you know, to congratulate them. Isn't it actually the way it should function? On the contrary, when Africans or when we have these conflicts, you know, the governments will be calling on this envoy to come and sit and mediate. But now they are coming in to congratulate you. So I think the world is also looking for Africa to take up its responsibility, isn't it?
And I think this is what former President Trump said. African solution has to be African. African has to solve their own problems. Because when you say no for those who will influence you for the destruction, this is where now you can stand very strong. And Magufuli did it, and even Paul Kagame said about it. And we have seen the conversation between the president of France and the president of Ghana, Ado, what he was saying, and he made the president of France be speechless, not even saying anything. But now this is the time that we have to do it ourselves. We are capable to change what has been there before. We are capable to move on with a good governance that can be created by our own people. Magufuli, the late, took it from Nyerere. The, 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 the other three presidents before him, they did not do anything like what Magufuli and Nyerere did during that time. It's the same thing we have to learn from our forefathers who have stood and who have fought for the independence of the continent of Africa. This is the time that we should learn from them. We should walk on their path and then bring unity back to our people and build and equal the same voice of Pan-Africanism and the United States of Africa. This is what is going to happen.
Absolutely. I mean, I also know that you're actively planning a series of activities on the continent there. What does your calendar looks like? I mean, after this, what next?
Yeah, we're supposed to go to Ghana in next month, but we're still waiting because of this lockdown. Every time we schedule program and there's lockdown on those nations, but we have to do it online or we have to fly there. I spoke with the king of Ghana, and there's a celebration we're supposed to go there to attend in this coming month. There's a big celebration there, and we have been invited to Senegal and even to Ghana too, and then to Gambia. So these things is based on the release and the ease of the lockdown. So we can be there present. But in the other side of the Horn and East Africa, I'm following up with Somalian government that encouraging them for the dialogue, or this election should go on time, should not be delayed. Because the more they delay, the more people will not understand, and the young people will carry gun and start shooting. And this is what we don't want. Like what is happening with Al-Shabaab and what is happening with the Boko Haram in Nigeria and in the border of Cameroon and then border of Central Africa. So we have to work very hard to see the African a peaceful nation.
Beautiful. So like you already have this kind of a roadmap. Like, I mean, I understood the last series of conversations that we had was, apart from the lockdown, I think these things would have been even much easier from the plan, the action plan, and everything that was going on, which is not a hidden something. Is this something that people do at the closed doors? When we see the US and the Afghanistan sit down to negotiate their peace talks or stuff like that, it is not something that people go and begin to like, it's some kind of a hidden news or something in the closet. But of course, like you're saying, we're taking one step after the other. Now, before you finish in Sudan, now we're hearing about the Fulani and Herdsman in Nigeria, and the issue in Cameroon is still not at peace. I think that's just too much work to do, isn't it?
Yes, the same, but we're still encouraging our people that they should have a solution for it, because this a term for African Union, for Musa Faki, you should focus for peace more than anything else, and this is the time that we have to encourage peace and security in the continent. And those people has to dialogue with them. Yes, what like in Syria is the same thing. This ISIS, Daesh and others, and the same Boko Haram in Nigeria and other places. Even Chad is fighting them now, chasing them until the border of Cameroon and all and all. So we have to have a full package of peace in the continent. When we say silent guns, people has to work very hard. We finish here, we go there as African, and we say, no, this will not take us anywhere. There's people who are benefiting behind, the people who want the instability of Africa, but we will say no for that. As a peace ambassador in Eastern Horn, is not only for my area, but we are cooperating with others too. We have to speak out to them. We have to tell them that we should do this for the whole continent, because we are working for the unity and to unite Africa.
Beautiful. That is the top program. Now, what is it that you would advise Africans? I mean, you know it, Dr. Tony JAJA, how broken, how Africans have actually been like marginalized by the leadership, and then some kind of trust is not there. They question, they ask, no answers. But now you're bringing us some feedback. What is it that you want also the citizens, not only the leadership, because peace is something that all of us have to walk through. I mean, like Osman Toure said here the other day, who are the ones holding the guns? All right. And what is it that we should also, the civil society, communities, and Africans watching us worldwide, how can we contribute to make peace the biggest success on the continent of Africa? Be us in the diaspora. What is it that we should start doing?
Yeah, the civil society activists, this is what I just want to tell them, because they are the tools of change in every society. In other part of Africa, they are being recognized, and in other part of Africa, they are not being recognized. They are not being given a platform where they can be part of the process for peace to be established in the continent of Africa. So we have to see that things happening, that civil society to be given a chance, to be given a platform, to involve in this peace process, because sometimes they have been left behind. Even in peace negotiations, sometimes they don't call them. But these are the people who are in the grassroots with the citizens wherever they are in the continent or in the country. So in diaspora, we have to stand as an African. Yes, we know sometimes we criticize things that are happening, but let us criticize things that can build, can revive, not the things that can divide us or bringing a destruction among the community, because we don't want people who walk and speak always to divide and encouraging their tribes to fight another tribe. This is not going to work. Let us work as a people of the nations and the people of the continent. Yes, leaders, they have their failures, because they see the seat is the threatened for them. Always, whenever they sit as the leaders, they see anybody who want to come around that is just looking for that seat. And that is why you see them very aggressive to protect their seat, not to be taken away from them. But civil society is a tools in every nation, because this is where you will find all the organizations that are working in the social department, those in the private sector. These are all called civil society. If you don't involve them, you are running the country like somebody who's driving a car and there is a back door. You can fall anytime. And this is what we have to say. The diaspora people can play a big role, and the good things that we know, the African in diaspora are millions of people, and they are part of the E6, which is the region 6, to help the economy. And I have seen what Ricana has been saying, that the diaspora has to stand to be involved for the development of the continent. And this is what we have to say too. The diaspora are more important for the development of Africa. As we have seen how Chinese in the diaspora are building back their nation, the Japanese and others, they work for their country. Let us work for our continent. Let us work for our people, so that the African can rise up again with all the tools we have and with all the activities we have all over the world. Whatever career you have, bring it back for Africa, and Africa will be the better and better place to be.
Thank you very much, Ambassador JAJA. That's the voice of the Africans worldwide, and you're watching the Pan-African Daily TV with Dr. Tony JAJA, the Peace and Ambassador for Eastern Horn Africa, on issues of the Magulification Week, particularly what is it that we Africans should know about the current happenings that African leaders and its people are waking up to start putting out actually the structures that we need to exist and coexist and build the Africa that we want. But of course, Excellency, I have just one more question, and I will open up the lines to take some few questions for people that want to address these questions to you directly, or to comment on the information that you've been pouring out here to us. But the one last question I want to just throw out is, when this peace talks are going on and dialogue. And we know that the diaspora, particularly the civil society revolutionaries, I mean, people that have stood up as voices, they have been in all this kind of, I don't want to say some names, but you know what I'm saying. And most often on the Pan African Daily, we've had these big, huge, impactful voices whose heart just beat for the continent and who know a lot. Do we consider them could be part of these negotiations in terms of consulting, in terms of hearing their opinion, in terms of bringing that kind of relevance, in terms of you're talking about bringing development? One of the biggest tools that we're not using is the skills of negotiation and consultancy of these experts in the diaspora. And now I want to ask just a question. Do you consider, or do the leaders consider, the voices out there in the diaspora to be part of the process, to add their voice to the peace process on the continent?
Yeah, this is what I can say, Dr. Susan. Everyone in this continent, whether you are inside the continent or in diaspora, you are part of the solution. So don't stay far away, but you are part of the solution. Mm-hmm. African Union has a lot of programs. Youth program, women programs, everything is there. Even peace and security program is there. Mm-hmm. And we need more experts, not to bring from other nations, but as African, we have to have our own expert, the expertise in a different field for peace, for dialogue, so that we can have solution as an African. And this is African solution. This is what I can say. And I used to encourage our leaders in African Union in this term they have been leading us, so they should embrace the diaspora expert too, the children and the sons and the daughters of the land, to be part of the process in building the continent and the nations.
Thank you very much. I mean, this is a topic that we'll see talk about it one-on-one on another occasion. But this week we are on the Magulification of Africa, and like the topic of really getting this know-how and expertise, learning even from the past. I mean, we see like in the American community in Haiti and Brazil, when even the governments are looking for peaceful solution in terms of conflicts, in terms of, we're talking on the continent about intertribal or countries fighting countries. If you look at like the United States, when there's a riot or there's a race topic, I mean, you see this our black leaders coming up to mediate. Some preachers, some try to bring a kind of a peace. And that's why we keep looking at this nation and admiring them. But these are our people that could really be one kind of an instrument, a tool to also mediate this process with the kind of, a know-how and techniques that they have learned in this high-end society, how to solve problems. So, but like I said, this is going to be a conversation for another day. And yes, we want to thank you so very much for being here. Dr. Tony JAJA, what is the one last word you want to share with us? But like I said, the lines are open for all of you that are watching. I'm so very sorry. If you want to address a direct question, particularly on the topics that Dr. Tony JAJA has touched here, which are very relevant topics. We heard Usman Toure already saying, what is it that they want their own generation? And now we are seeing that the leaders also are not sleeping like we used to think. They are not silent. A lot has been going on. And this is, I think, one of the biggest and great news that we are hearing in 2021. So if you have a comment or if you have a call, please call in. We just have about 10 minutes to the end of the show, or, we're rounding up to end up this day today. So yes, one last word from you, Excellency. There are no calls coming in. I see a lot of questions in the box, but we can share that some other time. Over to you.
I just want to encourage our audience who are listening to us always, that whatever we give you on the platform, on this live TV, these are the relevant things, that the reality that we are living in. And we have to encourage a unity among ourselves as the continent in diaspora, so we can build our continent back again. I have seen how they have they recover back the books that's age of 700,000 years back. You see, and that's the African books. If those books have been there for 700,000 years, not 100,000, 700,000 years, that is mean we were so knowledgeable, and we have to bring it back, the same knowledge. We have to reverse it. We have to advance it. We have to build the continent with the knowledge we have. I know, as the late Magufuli said, we are able to do it. We can do it again. And that is why the rest of the world are fearing the unity of the Black community wherever they are. But we are able to do it, to bring it back, to be an African and build our continent. Africa will never be free if we don't set up to be a superpower like others. Nobody will respect us. But this is the time, with all the resources we have to build a superpower Africa.
All right, I have some calls coming in already. Let's just take these calls, and all of you that have been anxious, please, the lines are open. Hello?
Hello.
Yes. Yes, good afternoon. Welcome.
Thank you. And I thank you for the wonderful, this program is really very soul searching. And I just want to greet Dr. JAJA, who has been doing a wonderful job.
Where are you calling from, please?
I'm calling from Cyprus.
Okay, go ahead.
I am coming in with a comment on, you asked the question, Sister Suzanne, you asked Dr. JAJA that how come the people of Tanzania, just within 48 hours, were able to inaugurate a new president in that country after the death of President Magufuli. His response, yes, we all of us understand that constitutions are made so that they can be able to guide the people to live in harmony and live in peace. Well, in times like this. But I want to add something there, Sister Suzanne. What actually happened in Tanzania is an eye-opener to every African. An eye-opener in what way? What Dr. Magufuli did in Tanzania is something that one cannot even understand, how he built the unity of that country to a point that every Tanzanian felt happy living in their country. And what Dr. Magufuli did, no one in his right senses, even his opposition, will want to interfere to bring war into that country. What that man did, it is not something that even his opposition will want to do. Then they are not patriotic. Magufuli did what every Tanzanian knew, that every Tanzanian could fight to prove that I am patriotic. That is what Dr. Magufuli did. And so you will understand what he did was, you will understand that no one in his right mind will want to fight. That is number one. Then number two, the narrative of the West. You know, I watched a video that they were trying to narrate that his activities, his actions almost caused the unity of that country. That is the narrative of the West. In Africa, they come into every country. The country that is trying to unite, they struggle to break so that they may have their way in. Then those countries that are already in pieces, they struggle to unite so that there continue to be war. To be war. We should also know that this thing, our downfall, the downfall of Africa is the upliftment of the West. We should not forget that. And that is what they are doing. And we thank God that Tanzania has opened, Dr. Magufuli has opened the eyes of every African, and we are able to see it. The writings are very clear on the wall that everyone can read. And if we are very sincere, every leader of Africa should try to copy that example. They say Africans like war. It is a lie. They are the one causing the wars in Africa. And it is time everyone sees what is happening. Tanzania is our example, and let us copy it and see if there shall be war in the next 10 years. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your opinion. Thank you so much for your contribution. Thank you. We're taking this to the last one. Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to speak to you. I've got a few questions for Dr. JAJA.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Switch off the volume on the show, and then we can hear you.
Okay, great. Okay, great. Thanks very much. Thank you very much. Thank you for the time. I really appreciate the opportunity, knowing that we have the peace and the security specialist, Dr. JAJA. Thank you very much. I've got 3 questions. By the way, my name is Daudi from Tanzania. I've got 3 quick questions, and I'd like to hear from Dr. JAJA. Because I see him as a person who is very knowledgeable as far as peace and security is concerned.
Correct.
So the first question is, as you are in this week of Magulification, now the messages from USA and a lot of messages from America coming to Tanzania, they are all about they are ready to work with the new president, and none of their message talks about any sort of condolences. So my question is, why do they want to work with the new president? And number 2 is, they could not work with Magufuli. Why now? That's one.
Okay. Let me answer.
Based, can I go to the second question now? Because maybe
okay, just ask the question shortly, and then he will respond to all. Okay, the second question.
Okay, yes. The other question is, based on just an obvious quick assessment in Africa, the number of CIA agents is increasing in alarming rates, and the recruitment of black assailants and puppets in all African countries is increasing. So now, how safe is good leaders in Africa?
Okay.
The last question. The last question. The last question now. The last one is, in Africa, as all we know, the problem has been bad leadership. But that's not the critical problem. The critical problem is the termination of good leadership. I know we have bad leadership, but we have good leadership. And as you can see, it's very easy to convert bad leadership into good leadership by learning. For example, learning from people like Magufuli, etc. But now the problem is determination of good leadership. To understand? Now, what is the solution to this endless termination of good leadership? Because if we are allowing good leadership to be terminated, then how are we going to solve this problem of leadership in Africa? I wonder if my question is clear, but that's what I'd like to ask.
Thank you very much. Yes, they're clear enough. All right. Thank you. Over to you, Dr. Tony JAJA.
Okay, I will just answer. He was asking about the week of Magufuli and the changes that has happened and the transition that has happened, and then the America message for working with a new president. I read the message of Kamala Harris, the Vice President of United States of America, congratulating the Dr. Samia as a new president of Tanzania, and saying we will work with you. I think diplomatically, that is how you can send a signal message to the new leader with the challenges that she's entering in, because now there's a sudden death of the president, and there's a new leadership that has been given to the vice, without any conflict, without any problems. That means the country was set up in the right constitution of running the government. And that is why Dr. Samia immediately took the oath as a newly president after the death of the late His Excellency Magufuli. Yes, how we can assure our leaders to be safe is depend on them. Is depend on our leaders. Is depend on the listening to us, what we are telling them, because none of them is on the safe side. If you want a united Africa, or if you want a developed Africa, the West is looking for Africa to be developed, to be a well-developed until the Agenda 2063. We cannot wait until Agenda 2063. Magufuli did not wait until 2063. You have to start with yourself and pass the torch to the next person. This is how we can develop our continent and the nations of Africa. So our leaders has to be careful, those who will oppose whatever is happening now, especially of the resources. He has to be careful. He has to be protected by himself and his people. And this is how we are losing leaders who are speaking out and challenging the West. We have seen how Thomas Sankara was been taken. We have seen how Patrick Lumumba has been taken. And after 40 years, the people who cut him into pieces came openly and say we did it after they become old people, because they know nobody will take them to court. What will you tell them? What will you judge them? What sentence are you going to pass on them? So Africa leaders, they have to be careful, especially those who have taken the oath to themselves from the funeral of the late Magufuli and saying we are going to carry the same spirit of Magufuli into our nations and do the same development to encourage. And I think this is what I can just say by now.
I think you've said it very perfectly, and like particularly the question of why they want to work with Hannah. I also think, like you said, why not? Particularly, it's not the opposition; it's still the same government. So if they're coming to support the same government and say, and that's what every a leader or a state leader should do, and particularly Excellency Kamala Harris, a woman meeting another woman, why not? So let's be open and also encourage ourselves and know that, yes, there's some things that happened, but of course, life doesn't end there. There are good things to always learn in every situation and move ahead, particularly with a spirit of unity and love and peace, not only for Africa, but also for the world at large. So I want to thank you so very much, His Excellency, for spending this wonderful time with us on a Tuesday afternoon where people are working, those that are doing their home offices and they're busy. We still had a lot of people watching and following you. It is a wonderful opportunity to have learned from you. Thank you so very much. We're going to have you some other time very soon back on your TV, particularly the fact that, you know, Pan-African Daily is almost clocking 1 year. And remember, you are the champion and the pioneer. We want to thank you and congratulate you. All your support, all your encouragement, all your education that you've been giving to us here. For all those who are meeting Dr. Tony JAJA for the first time, if you haven't ever known him or heard about him, please just go to our YouTube channel and you can watch all his videos from the beginning. He prophesied about a lot of things that happened, starting with the death of late George Floyd. You know, on that eve, before we even got the news, it was Dr. Tony JAJA who broke out that news to us. And a lot of Security Council issues that have been tackled here on the Pan-African Daily TV, giving a perspective and a way forward for Africans as guardians, information coming from the powerhouse, the African Union, which we've always been hitting our head. If we would not get it from voices like Professor P.L. Lumumba, we would get it from educational sessions like this, or tips and informations from Dr. Tony JAJA. I'm so happy and we are honored to have you as a son, a reliable and steadfast son in the generation of the Magafulis. Your name has gone down to history. We want to thank you so very much, and we will see you very soon on the Pan-African Daily TV.
Thank you, Dr. Tata. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Yes. So tomorrow, what is coming up on the Pan-African Daily TV? We have two powerful gentlemen that are coming up here. I already announced to you yesterday. So 3 p.m. same time, which is 5 p.m. East Africa, 4 p.m. out there in the Eastern Horn of Africa, and 9 a.m. in the Caribbean, 10 p.m. in the 9 a.m. in Eastern Standard American Time, and 10 p.m. in Caribbean, and your respective area time zones. We are going to have Professor Huntington Mabawai, who is the Riot Act inventor and the Rapid Africa Plan. He's going to share his tribute to late Dr. John Pombe Magufuli live with us here on the Pan-African Daily TV. And then exactly at 6 p.m. West African time, which is 8 p.m. East African time, Professor PLO Lumumba is going to address the nation on the Magulification Week. What is this that young Africans and Africans in general should do at this time and should learn from the passing away of Dr. Magufuli? And not only that, yes, so we're going to have a double impact program tomorrow. Now on the show, we're going to be playing all these videos that have been the wonderful speeches of the presidents, like we mentioned, you know, powerful speeches. We're not going to showcase all of them, you know, because I would not even be on the studio, but we just encourage you to continue watching the speeches. And even one of the most disturbing speeches that I think the oppositions, not only just the main oppositions, but people that actually were not for Magufuli, what were the disturbing things that he might have said that had provoked this resistance, you know, in working or collaborating with him. So all the speeches will be streaming to you now, and be aware of the fact that we will not be live again today, but tomorrow, 3 p.m. like I said, and 6 p.m. is the time. So we wish you a happy time out there while we mourn and while we even celebrate. Please pay attention to the programs coming up on the Pan-African Daily TV. So thank you and have a nice day, and we see ourselves tomorrow. Stay safe and healthy, and we continue trusting and uniting ourselves for a one Africa, a stronger people worldwide. Bye-bye. God bless you.
Madam Samia Suluhu Hassan,
Mheshimiwa Mama Samia Suluhu Hassan,
President of the Republic of Tanzania,
Raisi wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania,
the First Gentleman, and all Tanzanian government officials and citizens present here and all over the world.
wakuu wa nchi na serikali wote mliopo mahala hapa,
Your Excellencies, fellow heads of state and government here present,
wakuu wa nchi na serikali wote mlioko mahala hapa,
Your Excellencies, former heads of state and government here present,
wakuu wa nchi na serikali wote mliopo hapa,
Madam Janet Magufuli, former First Lady of Tanzania and surviving widow of late President John Pombe Joseph Magufuli,
Mama Janet Magufuli, mke wa hayati Daktari John Joseph Pombe Magufuli,
together with all members of the bereaved family,
pamoja na wanafamilia wote,
ladies and gentlemen,
mabibi na mabwana,
pole sana.
poleni sana.
166 days ago, President John Pombe Magufuli and I had dinner together at the state residence in Dar es Salaam.
Siku za hapo nyuma, mimi pamoja na Rais Magufuli tulikutana Ikulu hapo Dar es Salaam.
But I did not know that it would be our last supper.
Lakini sikujua kama ingelikuwa ndio mara yetu ya mwisho kukutana.
The following day, he saw me off the apron of Julius Nyerere International Airport.
Siku iliyofuata alinisindikiza mpaka uwanja wa ndege wa Julius Nyerere wa kimataifa.
But I did not know that it would be our last.
Lakini
Goodbye.
sikujua kama ndio ingelikuwa mara yetu ya mwisho kuonana.
Today I join you all in a state of shock and grief.
Leo ninaungana nanyi katika hali ya majonzi na huzuni,
Representing not just myself but all the peoples of Malawi.
nikiwawakilisha watu wote wa Malawi.
At the passing of one of Africa's finest sons, because none of us saw it coming. This ability to let no one see his next move coming, which we find unsettling in death, is also what we find inspiring in life. When they said laziness and sloth in public service cannot be cured, they did not see Magufuli coming.
Alikuwa akipambana na uvivu, pale palipoonekana dalili zozote za uvivu ungemwona Magufuli akiingilia kati.
When they said the cartels of corruption strangling Africa's governments cannot be defeated, they did not see Magufuli coming. When they said African states cannot become middle-income economies within a single presidential term, they didn't see Magufuli coming.
Na watu walipokuwa wakisema Afrika haiwezi kufikia uchumi wa kati, wakashuhudia kwamba ndani ya kipindi cha miaka mitano tu nchi inafikia uchumi wa kati.
When they said infrastructural projects in Africa cannot be completed on time and on budget,
na waliposema kwamba miradi mikubwa ya miundo mbinu haiwezi kukamilishwa kwa wakati na kwa bajeti mwafaka,
they did not see Magufuli coming.
Hawakumuona Magufuli kwamba anaweza kulifanya hilo.
When they said the only way to pursue our development
na waliposema njia pekee ya kufikia maendeleo yetu
is to follow failed prescriptions of foreign financial institutions,
kwamba ni lazima tufuate maelekezo ya taasisi za kimataifa ambayo maelekezo yenyewe yameshindwa,
that have left Africa more impoverished and in debt than they found it.
Na maelekezo hayo ambayo tumekuwa tukipokea kutoka taasisi za kifedha za kimataifa yameacha Afrika ikiwa imeumizwa na madeni mazito.
They did not see Magufuli coming.
Hawakujua kwamba Magufuli atakuja.
To us, who had the privilege of knowing the unpredictable Magufuli,
na kwetu sisi ambao tulipata fursa ya kumuona huyu Rais Magufuli ambaye hakuweza kutabirika,
the example of his life of service shall ever forever be a launching pad of our own.
Na maisha yake ya utumishi wa mfano itabaki kwenye kumbukumbu yetu.
To us who have the honor of going through this world as Africans,
na sisi ambao tumekuwa na heshima ya kuishi hapa ulimwenguni kama Waafrika,
Magufuli's love of country shall forever be a light on that pilgrimage.
Mapenzi ya Rais Magufuli kwa nchi yake itakuwa ndio mwanga katika safari yetu kama Waafrika.
To us who have been entrusted with governing the nations of our beautiful and rich continent,
nasi tuliopewa bahati ya kupewa dhamana ya kuendesha mataifa yetu katika bara hili tajiri,
Magufuli's leadership shall forever move us out of complacency.
Na uongozi wa Magufuli na mfano wake utaendelea kutuweka na kutuondolea uzembe.
It is right for us to hold him in this regard.
Ni vyema kwetu kumchukulia Mheshimiwa Magufuli katika mwelekeo huu.
John Pombe Joseph Magufuli was not just an icon.
Mheshimiwa John Pombe Magufuli hakuwa tu nyota,
he was a hero.
Alikuwa ni shujaa.
May his name be preserved in every capital of Africa.
na jina lake sasa lihifadhiwe katika makabati yote ya Afrika
as a symbol of the kind of resolve that will create the Africa we want.
Kama alama ya uamuzi thabiti utakaopelekea kuipata Afrika tunayohitaji.
May his work be venerated in every village as an example of worthy of our imitation.
Na maneno yake sasa yafuatwe katika kila eneo, katika vijiji vyetu tufuate mfano wake.
And may his soul rest in eternal peace.
Na roho yake ipumzike kwa amani.
As he meets with his God,
na atakapokwenda mbele za Mungu,
with whom we hope to one day see Magufuli coming.
Nasi siku moja tutaweza kumuona Magufuli.
Madam President, we will stand with you.
Mheshimiwa Rais, tutasimama pamoja na wewe.
Tanzanians, Malawians will stand with you.
Watanzania na watu wa Malawi watakuunga mkono.
My friend, kwaheri ndugu yangu.
Rafiki yangu, kwaheri ndugu yangu.
My deepest condolences to you all.
Natoa pole zangu za dhati kabisa kwenu.
Tukia kwenye dhahabu. Dhahabu walikuwa wanasomba makonteina na makonteina. Wanakwambia wanachukua mchanga. Sasa kama ni mchanga, kwa nini unausafirisha kupeleka Ulaya? Kama ni mchanga, si usafirishe hata Kinyerezi ukajenge daraja. Lile lilikuwa shamba la bibi lingine. Dhahabu yetu imesombwa, tumeachiwa mashimo, wananchi wameendelea kuwa maskini. Na maeneo yaliyokuwa na dhahabu nzuri wanafukuzwa, wanachimba wao. Mikataba ilikuwa inasainiwa Ulaya bila hata Watanzania wa hapa kujua. Mimi nilikuwa serikalini miaka 20. Nimebadilisha huu taratibu. Tukasema lazima tukae kwenye meza tuzungumze. Mliyasikia yaliyozungumzwa na baadhi ya Watanzania waliokuwa mapapeti wa hawa watu. Serikali itafungwa, hamwezi tukashindana na wazungu. Tumewabana kisawasawa. Paka wameanza kutoa pesa na gawio, na tukaunda kampuni inayoitwa Twiga. Wameshaachia bilioni 100 na kesho wanaleta tena bilioni 100 za faida zilizopatikana hapa. Hizi fedha ndizo tunazipeleka kwa wananchi wanyonge, kwenye mahospitali, kwenye madawa, kwenye mashule, kwenye barabara. Hivi vilikuwa havipatikani. Lakini msifikiri wanavitoa kwa raha. Adui yao mkubwa namba 1 ni mimi. Kwa sababu ninakwamisha mambo yao. Kwa sababu ninakwamisha mambo yao. Lakini mimi nakwamisha kwa niaba yenu. Mimi nimezaliwa kwenye familia maskini, na ndiyo maana nasema kazi ya urais ni sadaka kwa Watanzania walio maskini. Nilifanya vibaya, nimefanya vizuri. Hawawezi wakafurahi, na huu ndio ukweli. Tumeingia kwenye swala la corona. Tumejenga hospitali za mkoa 10. Tumejenga hospitali za wilaya 98. Tumejenga hospitali za rufaa 4. Hatukukopa hela kwao. Wanaona gele. Wanaona wivu. Wanaona uchungu. Tulikuwa na tatizo la umeme katika nchi hii. Ninyi hapa Segerea ni mashahidi. Ulikuwa ukienda mtaa wa Uhuru Dar es Salaam, huwezi ukajua hata sauti ya majenereta. Yalikuwa kama muziki wa bongo flavor. Lingine linaunguruma hapa, lingine lingine. Hiyo ndiyo yalikuwa maisha ya wana Dar es Salaam. Tumesema hapana, nchi hii ina vyanzo vingi vya umeme. Tukasema sasa tunaanza ile Stiegler's Gorge au bwawa la Nyerere, tuanze kutengeneza umeme pale. Tulipoanza kuzungumza yakaja mambo, tunaharibu mazingira. Tulipokwenda kucheki mle ndani polini, tumekuta wao wana hoteli, wana hunting block 47, kuna viwanja vidogo vidogo vya ndege, airstrip 38. Walikuwa wanasomba meno ya tembo, wanasomba kila kitu. Tanzania limekuwa shamba la bibi, ndugu zangu. Tukasema tunajenga kwa sababu taifa hili liko huru. Tukajaribu kuomba mkopo wakakataa. Tumejenga kwa fedha zetu trilioni 6.5 na kandarasi yupo. Tunataka umeme usambae kila mahali. Palipo na shida ya umeme, umeme ukaingie. Na tunataka hata bei ya umeme tuishushe chini. Tushushe bei ya umeme kama wanavyouziana kwao. Wakishaona haya mambo, hawawezi wakafurahi. Hawawezi hata kidogo, kwa sababu wamekosa eneo walilokuwa wanachuma. Nataka niwaeleze ukweli wana Dar es Salaam, na hii ndiyo sadaka yangu kwenu kwa kuwaeleza ukweli. Kinyerezi oye! Ilala oye!
Excellency Mrs. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the Republic, United Republic of Tanzania.
Mheshimiwa Samia Suluhu Hassan, Rais wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania.
Madam Janet Pombe Magufuli and the entire family.
Mama Janet Magufuli na familia yote ya wafiwa.
Your Excellencies, heads of state and governments and former heads of state.
Waheshimiwa wakuu wa nchi na serikali na wakuu wa nchi na serikali wastaafu.
The Right Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Kassim Majaliwa.
Mheshimiwa Waziri Mkuu Kassim Majaliwa.
Honorable Excellencies, Your Excellencies, Ambassadors and High Commissioners accredited to the United Republic of Tanzania,
waheshimiwa mabalozi mnaowakilisha nchi zenu nchini Tanzania,
senior government officials,
viongozi wakuu wa serikali,
fellow mourners,
ndugu waombolezaji wenzangu.
The death of President John Pombe Joseph Magufuli will forever be vividly imprinted in the hearts and minds of the people of Tanzania for his selfless resolve to bring about social, economic transformation and prosperity for all Tanzanians.
Kifo cha Mheshimiwa Magufuli kitaacha alama isiyofutika nchini Tanzania na kwa Tanzania wote kwa moyo wake wa kujitolea ili kuleta maendeleo kwa wananchi wake.
President Magufuli will be remembered for his immense contribution to the growth of the South African Development Community, SADC.
Mheshimiwa Rais Magufuli atakumbukwa sana kwa mchango wake mkubwa katika maendeleo ya Jumuiya ya Maendeleo ya Kusini mwa Afrika.
Especially through his recent chairmanship of the regional body.
Hasa baada ya yeye mwenyewe kuwa mwenyekiti wa Jumuiya ya SADC.
On our part as Zambia, our strong bonds of friendship are cemented through, amongst others, our historical bilateral projects of TAZARA and Tazama pipeline.
Kwa upande wetu Zambia, uhusiano wetu umeimarishwa zaidi na miradi ya pamoja kama vile TAZARA na bomba la mafuta la Tazama.
As such, when President Magufuli hosted me graciously to a successful state visit in November 2016, we reaffirmed our commitment to transform these projects for improved trade, not only between our two countries, but for the entire SADC region.
Na mwezi Novemba mwaka 2016 nilipokutana naye, tulionyesha tena nia yetu ya kuweza kuimarisha kati yangu na Mheshimiwa Magufuli. Ni mwaka 2019 mwezi wa Oktoba tulipozindua kituo cha huduma za pamoja mpakani pale na Konde.
During this occasion, what I remember most is President Magufuli's enchanting personality and how he mesmerized residents on both sides of the border when he addressed them.
Na nalokumbuka ni ule moyo wake wa kuhamasisha watu wakati alipoongea na watu wa pande mbili kwenye mpaka wa Tanzania na mpaka wa Zambia.
He was forthright, fearless, and most of all, transformation.
Na alikuwa ni mtu ambaye amenyoka kabisa na kwenda moja kwa moja, mtu asiye na hofu, lakini mtu wa mageuzi, mwana mageuzi.
Apart from being transformational, to me, he was not just a counterpart. John Pombe Magufuli was a friend of mine, and I will dearly miss him.
Na kwangu mimi binafsi, sio tu alikuwa mtu mwana mageuzi, lakini alikuwa ni rafiki yangu wa karibu. Kwa hiyo nitamkosa sana.
As we mourn our departed President John Pombe Magufuli, our thoughts and prayers are with the bereaved family and with you all, the people of the United Republic of Tanzania.
Na wakati tukiendelea kuomboleza kwa ajili ya ndugu yetu aliondoka, mawazo yetu na maombi yetu yanaelekea kwenu wa Tanzania na kwa familia ya wafiwa.
May our condolences bring you comfort, but more so, may our prayers to the Almighty God grant you strength and ease the pain of this great loss.
Na tunaomba rambirambi zetu hizi ziwape faraja, na pia ni maombi yetu kwamba Mwenyezi Mungu awasaidie kupunguza maumivu na uzito wa majonzi mlionayo.
Rest well, gallant son of Africa. You have run your race well, and we pray for your soul to rest in eternal peace in the loving arms of our Creator, God Almighty.
Pumzike vyema ewe mwana wa Afrika. Umepigana vita vilivyo vyema, mwendo wako umemaliza, nasi tutaendelea kukuombea.
Mheshimiwa John Pombe Joseph Magufuli alikuwa rafiki yangu sana, na hii inaniuma sana sana. Naomba Mungu amweke mahali pema peponi. Amen.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Edgar Chagwa Lungu, Rais wa Jamhuri ya Zambia, kwa maneno yako ya faraja.
Your Excellency Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania and the First Gentleman.
Mheshimiwa Samia Suluhu Hassan, Rais wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania pamoja na mme wako.
Madam Janet Magufuli and members of the Magufuli family.
Mama Janet Magufuli na wanafamilia.
Your Excellencies, heads of state and government, and may I also recognize the chairman of the AU, His Excellency President Tshisekedi Chilombo.
Waheshimiwa wakuu wa nchi na serikali, naomba mniruhusu kutambua uwepo wa mwenyekiti wa Jumuiya ya Umoja wa Afrika, Mheshimiwa Rais Tshisekedi.
Your Excellencies, members of the diplomatic corps, and the people of Tanzania.
Waheshimiwa mabalozi pamoja na wananchi wa Tanzania.
Today is a dark day in Tanzania, in our region, and the whole of our continent.
Siku ya leo ni siku ya giza sana hapa Tanzania, katika ukanda wetu, lakini pia katika bara zima la Afrika.
We in Zimbabwe join you as we mourn a giant who dedicated his life to the service of his people and the cause of our continent in different capacities.
Sisi wa Zimbabwe tunamlilia sana Mheshimiwa Rais kwa sababu ya maisha yake aliyojitolea kuwatumikia wananchi wake, lakini pia kulitumikia bara lote la Afrika.
On behalf of the government and the people of Zimbabwe, and indeed on my own behalf, I would like to convey my deepest condolences to Your Excellency Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, and Mrs. Madam Janet Magufuli and members of the Magufuli family, as well as the government and his revolutionary people of Tanzania for your sad loss.
Kwa niaba ya watu wa Zimbabwe na kwa niaba ya serikali ya Zimbabwe na kwa niaba yangu mwenyewe, ningependa kutoa pole nyingi sana kwako Mheshimiwa Rais Samia Suluhu Hassan, kwa mume wako, kwa mama Majaneti na familia kwa kumpoteza huyu ndugu yetu.
We in Zimbabwe mourn with you.
Sisi wananchi wa Zimbabwe tunaomboleza pamoja nanyi.
We have lost a friend of our country, a dear brother, a comrade, an admirable leader, and a man of the people. May you take comfort and solace in the awareness that our thoughts and prayers are with you, the people of Tanzania.
Tumempoteza ndugu yetu, kaka yetu, kamaradi wetu, na tunaomba mpate faraja kwamba mawazo yetu na maombi yetu yanaelekezwa kwenu.
Your Excellencies and fellow mourners, the late President John Pombe Joseph Magufuli established a reputation as a man of action in order to hasten the pace of development for Tanzania.
Waheshimiwa viongozi, ndugu waombolezaji wenzangu, Mheshimiwa Rais Magufuli alijenga heshima ya kuwa ni mtu wa vitendo ambaye alikuwa tayari kwa ajili ya kuharakisha maendeleo ya Tanzania.
He was a true Pan-African who believed in the need for Africa to increase economic cooperation and trade for the benefit of our peoples. He was a leader who led from the front, who was passionate about the welfare of his people and the development prosperity of Africa as a whole.
Alikuwa ni mwanamajumui wa Afrika ambaye aliamini kwamba Afrika lazima ifanye biashara na ili kujiendeleza kiuchumi.
Zimbabwe was inspired upon learning that Tanzania had attained lower middle income status 5 years ahead of target.
Na Zimbabwe ilifurahi sana kusikia kwamba Tanzania imeufikia uchumi wakati miaka 5 kabla ya wakati uliopangwa.
Indeed, this is one of the main milestones of achievements which are testimony of the astute, incisive and focused leadership of the late President John Pombe Joseph Magufuli.
Kwa hakika haya ni maendeleo makubwa na ni alama kubwa ya mipango na maendeleo ambayo Mheshimiwa Rais Magufuli aliyafanya kwa ajili ya kuharakisha mabadiliko ya kiuchumi nchini mwake.
In the Southern African Development Community SADC, the late President Magufuli was chairperson from August 2019 to August 2020, during which he ably steered the regional ship towards inclusive and sustainable industrial development, increased intra-regional trade and job creation.
Katika kipindi chake akiwa mwenyekiti wa SADC kuanzia mwaka 2019 Oktoba na hadi mwaka 2020, aliweka msitizo mkubwa katika maendeleo ya viwanda na utengenezaji wa ajira.
The late President Magufuli was always unwavering on calling for the region to stand together on matters of principle.
Mheshimiwa Rais alihamasisha sana viongozi wa jumuiya ya SADC kusimama pamoja na kusimamia misingi ya uongozi.
We, the people of Zimbabwe, will always remember him for the pivotal role he played as chairperson in having SADC set aside the 25th of October as a day for the collective call for the removal of the illegal sanctions imposed on our country by the Western countries.
Zimbabwe tutamkumbuka sana Mheshimiwa Rais kwa kuamua kutenga tarehe 25 ya mwezi Oktoba kwamba ni siku kwa Afrika kuinua sauti zao dhidi ya vikwazo ambavyo Zimbabwe iliwekewa.
His visionary leadership and legacy will remain anchored in the history of SADC.
Historia yake itabakia alama katika eneo la SADC.
In 2019, Zimbabwe was devastated alongside Mozambique and Malawi by Cyclone Idai, and Tanzania was the first African country to donate tons of food and medical supplies.
Na mwaka 2019 Zimbabwe pamoja na Malawi zilikumbwa na kimbunga cha Idai na zikawa na njaa kubwa, na Mheshimiwa Magufuli alikuwa ni kiongozi wa kwanza kabisa katika eneo la SADC kutoa msaada wa tani nyingi za chakula.
But I would like to narrate what happened. He telephoned me at night when I was sleeping.
Nataka niwasimulie kilichotokea kwamba alinipigia simu usiku nikiwa nimelala.
Then when I realized it was President Magufuli, I attended. And he said,
nilipotambua kwamba ni Mheshimiwa Magufuli, nikapokea simu hiyo na ndipo akasema,
"My dear brother, I know you have been struck by Cyclone Idai. What can we do as Tanzania to assist?"
Akaniuliza, kaka yangu, najua kwamba mmekumbwa na kimbunga cha Idai, na sasa ni nini ambacho nadhani Tanzania inaweza kufanya ili kuwasaidia?
Then I said, "My brother, you may assist with food." He said, "Yes." "With the blankets?" He said, "Yes." with medicines? He said, yes. But because I was sleeping with mosquitoes, I said, mosquitoes? I said, no, I meant mosquito nets.
Baada ya hapo nikamwambia unaweza kutusaidia chakula, mablanketi, madawa, lakini baadaye nikasema unaweza kutusaidia pia umbu. Akasema umbu ni nini? Nikamwambia ninamaanisha vyandarua vya umbu kwa maana ya mosquito nets.
And of course with tents. And indeed, the following day in the evening, a plane load of Air Tanzania arrived with those things.
Na siku iliyofuata jioni, ndege ya Tanzania ilifika ikiwa na misaada hiyo.
I want to assure you, Your Excellency, President Samia Suluhu Hassan, and the heroic people of the United Republic of Tanzania of the continued support, solidarity, and cooperation of the people of Zimbabwe as you pursue the dreams and the vision you shared with the late departed President John Magufuli.
Mheshimiwa Rais, napenda kukuhakikishia kwa niaba ya wananchi wa Zimbabwe kwamba tutaendelea kuwaunga mkono kwa dhati kabisa katika jitihada za kuendeleza kuyafikia maono na ndoto ambazo mmekuwa nazo pamoja na hayati Magufuli.
The late President Magufuli paid a state visit to Zimbabwe, and when he did so, as he did to South Africa, he brought boxes and boxes of Swahili books.
Najua Mheshimiwa Magufuli alifanya ziara kule Zimbabwe kama alivyofanya kule Afrika Kusini, na alipofika alikuja na maboksi mengi sana vitabu vya Kiswahili.
But he was delighted when I told him Zimbabwe already offers a degree in Swahili at one of our universities.
Na akafurahishwa sana kusikia kwamba Zimbabwe tayari ilikuwa ikitoa masomo ya Kiswahili katika moja ya vyuo vikuu vyake.
Then he asked me whether I had been to Tanzania before.
Alafu akaniuliza kama nimewahi kuwepo Tanzania hapo kabla, nami nikasema ndio.
I said the people of Tanzania are a revolutionary people. They gave birth to the independence of the Republic of Zimbabwe.
Nikasema wananchi wa Tanzania ni wananchi wa kimapinduzi kabisa, kwani walileta ukombozi kwa taifa la Zimbabwe.
I told him that I came to Tanganyika at the time in 1963, and we opened our first camp with Frelimo at Bagamoyo.
Na nikamwambia nilikuja Tanzania mwaka 1963 na ndipo tukafungua kambi yetu ya wapiganaji ya kwanza kabisa kule Bagamoyo.
We were only 59 cadres.
Tulikuwa makada 58.
So he promised that when I reciprocate his visit to Tanzania, you would allow me to visit Bagamoyo camp.
Na akaniahidi kwamba nitakapofanya ziara rasmi hapa Tanzania atanipa fursa ya kutembelea kambi ya Bagamoyo.
I'm happy to say to you, the people of Tanzania, when I came over, he did facilitate, and I was taken to Bagamoyo camp, where I then donated $60,000.
Na ndipo nilipokuja nikafanikiwa kwenda Bagamoyo na nikaweza kutoa $60,000.
May his soul rest in eternal peace. God bless Tanzania. God bless you all. Asante sana.
Roho yake ipumzike katika amani ya milele. Mungu bariki Tanzania. Mungu ibariki roho yake. Asanteni sana.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Emerson Dambuzo Mnangagwa.